Eventually, the time came for both men to challenge themselves overseas.
By the time I got here, I think I knew every inch of the track without even walking it. I was coming here thinking I'm starting at the bottom, but I better give myself the best opportunity to get a running start. And by doing that, I got here early, did a lot of track work, put my name out there with a lot of trainers, tried to ride as many every morning as I possibly could, as many trials, and kept myself very busy and studying form and trying to get on the right horses. You walk into a place like Hong Kong and your eyes open. I mean, they really open. You're a reborn jockey. From the time the gates open until the time you go past the winning post, there's no room for error, and you have to be on top of your game the whole time. You could ride anywhere in the world after competing in Hong Kong. That first meeting, I'll never forget when I jumped on the horse and I looked across at the grandstand, and you got 60, 70 odd thousand people. I was behind the gates and I looked across Penfold Park at the grandstand. I went, wow, this is centre stage, isn't it?
It almost seems like Hong Kong is surreal for horse racing. Like you go to a country that's just about horse racing. When you watch on TV, it's just always exciting. And also, it just doesn't seem like there's an off season. You know, when you're watching the sort of the winter in the UK and that, whereas Hong Kong just seems like it's Group 1 level racing all year round. So when every jockey sets out, they think of Hong Kong first. So I was thinking that, you know, maybe I need to go to the UK for a bit, maybe I need to go to Australia for a bit, but the end goal was always to try be competing in Hong Kong.
The many nuances of racing in Hong Kong can prove to be a barrier for some.
Most jockeys all over the world, they've got agents, they've got managers, they've got people that book their flights, deal with the day-to-day issues, decide which jurisdiction they're going to ride. So basically, in the rest of the world, jockeys have to keep themselves fit and healthy. But that all changes in Hong Kong because there's no agents. First and foremost, and secondly, you're required to do track work pretty much every day. That's seen as a must by trainers. Then you've got the trials, which are on twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And if you're not busy in those, getting on different horses and feeling them and giving some advice towards their preparation going forward, you're on the back foot from the word go. And if they don't want to do it, well, that's the first step of failure in Hong Kong. You want to be a couple of lengths above the rest. You should know your ins and outs about the form and people's horses and your rides coming up.
Going about getting rides and preparing for races, it's a lot different. Here you got to be on top of it 4 weeks in advance, maybe even more, and you got to be 2 steps ahead. After my first meeting, I had a suspension that had followed on from South Africa, and it was just the worst way to start in Hong Kong because I'd just come out my first meeting with a couple of places and thought, yeah, we're ready to go, and this suspension was confirmed, and I was out for the next 4 race meetings, and that's sort of when you're trying to build relationship and get going. And yeah, then you're not getting track work, you're not getting trials, you're not getting races, and that's a snowball effect. When you're not doing well, to still find a way to have that confidence to just ask for a ride and go to the trainer stand and talk to trainers. And although I might not have even realized at the time, you've lost some sort of self-confidence. And now if you consider to be sort of a nobody in where you were everything, that made it really hard. I had never experienced a tough time in racing. I literally from day one rode winners and broke records and won championships. And then I came and went through that, and it was a culture shock for me.